My brother was brought back to Russia. And now they're threatening to send him right back to the front lines.
Halfway through the ride, they just turned the bus around and took them back to the war.
This isn't some isolated case. It's happening on a large scale. And to be clear, this didn't start in the past few weeks, or even the past few months.
I don't get the point of these exchanges then. Why bother trading them back if you're just going to send them off to fight again?
Enough. Let them go home after the exchange, not back to the war.
How long were you in captivity?
A year and 4 months.
What were you hoping for when you got back? Did you think the war was over for you?
Yeah, I was counting on that. I thought the unit would treat us decently, give us some leave so we could see our families.
And what actually happened?
They swapped us, brought us to Moscow. The state security talked to us there. Then someone from the unit came, picked us up, and took us back. We stayed at the base for maybe a week. I submitted a leave request, but 3 days later, they sent me straight to the front. And the next morning, like 3 a.m., they sent me into the assault.
In May and June, Russia and Ukraine carried out a large prisoner exchange. Moscow got back over 1,000 soldiers. Many had spent months in captivity and thought they'd finally be going home to see their families. But it turns out a lot of them were brought back just so they could be sent straight to the battlefield again.
You want to go home?
Yeah, I do.
Do you realize that once you're exchanged, they'll most likely send you back to your old unit?
Yeah, but I'll refuse. I'll do the prison time. I've already done time before. I know what to expect behind bars. I'll do 5, even 7 years. I'm still young, only 23. I'll serve the sentence, but I'm never coming back here again.
This is Kirill Putintsev. He was recruited into the war from prison after signing a contract. Like other inmates, he ended up in the Storm Unit. He was captured during his very first combat mission. In early May, Kirill was brought back to Russia in a major prisoner exchange. And now they're planning to send him to the front again.
I just don't understand the point of these exchanges. Why bring them back if you're going to send them off to war again? Why torture these guys? Honestly, I don't know. That's something you'd have to ask Putin. But my brother, he was hoping to be exchanged, probably smiling on the ride home. And then they told him on the bus that he'd be going back because Russia doesn't follow the Geneva Convention. And he was like, why even bother exchanging me then? Why give me false hope? Now he's more scared than ever. He knows exactly what he's being sent back into.
Sending ex-POWs straight back to the front is standard practice in the Russian military. Here are just a few examples. In December last year, Dmitry Loskov and Alexei Zarakinsky were exchanged. After being questioned at a military base in the Moscow suburb of Mosrenkin, both were sent back to the front and have since gone missing. In March this year, Pyotr Kuznetsov was returned to Russia, but 3 months later, he's still not been allowed to go home, even though he lost a leg in combat. On April 19th, 20-year-old Shikhan Yagamberdiev was brought back from captivity. But instead of going home, he was taken to a barracks, interrogated, and shipped off to the front again.
They were being questioned by the FSB. Military prosecutors, military police, the whole lot. Then, they were made to wait for transfer to their units. The unit was supposed to decide whether to give them leave, assign them to some rear duty post, or send them back into combat. Legally, as far as I know, they're not supposed to send them into combat again. But nobody cares.
This is a widespread phenomenon. And just to be clear, it didn't start in the past few weeks, or even the past few months. It goes back to the exchange that happened last fall, September, I think, after the Ukrainian incursion into Kursk region. That's when some conscripts were captured, and they started writing to us saying they were being pressured to return to the front. Some of them were already there. Back then, it was mostly the soldiers themselves who reached out to us. Now it's mostly their families because it seems they're having serious issues with communication. Back in September, they somehow managed to get their hands on smartphones or some other devices to message us. Now they can't. And here's the other thing. Once someone is exchanged, they immediately land in an FSB interrogation. I have a bad feeling that those interrogations may be a lot rougher this time than they were before.
Did you talk to the FSB after coming back from captivity?
Yeah,
Can you tell us what they asked?
mostly how I got captured, where it happened, whether I signed anything with Ukrainian intelligence. That's it, really. Nothing special. No threats or anything. Just straight questions.
The insider also tracked the case of another soldier featured in our Storm Unit's investigation, Vladimir Bartenev. He was brought back to Russia in early June. According to his wife and son, he's still being held in the Moshchentgen military base outside Moscow, where he's being questioned by the FSB. They're planning to send him back to his unit next. All the names of returned POWs have been published in the open. We reached out to the families and friends of some of those who came home. Several people told us in private messages that the soldiers are either being held at their bases or have already been sent back to the front.
There was an exchange. Our friend was included in it. He was supposed to be coming home, but from what I understood, halfway through the trip, they just turned the bus around and took them back to the front.
In chats and Telegram channels, many people are saying the same thing. Their relatives were thrown back into combat right after the exchange, and now no one can get in touch with them.
Hello, I'm looking for my brother, Danil Sotnikov. He was exchanged on May 6th and sent back to the combat zone on June 1st. Last time we heard from him was at the end of May.
30 days at home, then back. A few weeks later, he came home again in a zinc coffin.
They held him for 3 weeks in Moscow for questioning, then sent him back to the war. I wrote everywhere I could think of, nothing helped, and under Russian law, a former POW isn't supposed to be sent back into combat for a year. But reality looks very different.
Hello? Please tell me who I can turn to? My child came back injured. He's 19. He's waiting for a prosthetic. And they said that as soon as he gets it, he'll be sent back to war.
They're sending them, no question about it. Ours was given a couple of weeks at home and then straight back.
But reality looks very different.
He'll be sent back to war. He's 19.
I'm looking for my brother.
He came home again in a zinc coffin.
They're sending them, no question about it.
Yes, I started a group. It's called Bring Them Home Alive. We already have over 100 members. And women there, several of them, not just one, have recorded video appeals about this. They're terrified that their loved ones will be sent back into the storm units after captivity.
Меня зовут Леонова Ирина Владимировна. Я жена военнопленного Гусева Вячеслава Владимировича, который уже 13 месяцев находится на Украине в плену.
Мой муж Якименко Максим Сергеевич. 04.07.1982 год рождения. В настоящее время находится в плену. Я очень боюсь, что когда его вернут из плена, его опять отправят на войну.
Хочу обратиться к президенту с просьбой не отправлять бывших военнослужащих обратно в зону боевых действий, согласно Женевской конвенции 1949 года,
в которой говорится о том, что ни один репатриированный не может быть использован на действительной военной службе.
Ребята, которых меняют на обмене, ждут и надеются на то, что они поедут домой, увидятся со своими близкими родственниками, мамами, женами, детьми, а в итоге им не предоставляют даже отпуска, отправив их назад на войну.
Много чего испытали. Хватит. Верните их после обмена домой, а не на войну.
There's the Geneva Convention, which Russia has signed. According to it, POWs can't be sent back to the front. They're supposed to go home, recover, spend time with loved ones. But the Russian authorities wipe their feet on that convention. They say, sure, the Geneva Convention exists, it's international law. Fine. But we have our own Geneva Convention at home. It's called the Presidential Decree on Partial Mobilization, signed by Putin. And as long as that's in effect, and it still is, all contracts are indefinite.
Yana has been trying to save her brother for over a year. It all started when Kirill went missing after a combat mission.
I had just given birth. I was knocking on every door. I cried in the military offices but got no answers. Sometimes I'd come home not knowing what to do. He wasn't anywhere. No one was saying anything. This was all new to me. After a month, 2 months of silence, there were moments when I felt like giving up. But then I'd think, he must be even more scared. He's alive. I felt it. And I kept going, no matter how hard it got for me, because it was harder for him. I started searching on my own, looking through every group, every project on Telegram and social media, typing in his full name everywhere online, just in case something turned up. Nothing. Then I found the group Search for the Missing. And then another one, Prisoners. I'd sit there every evening scrolling from morning till night. And one day, completely by accident, I came across a video showing There were 2 videos, and in both of them, I saw my brother. I knew immediately it was him. I sent the videos to his commander, told him, Putin-Sev's in captivity. They said, that's not possible. I sent them the clips. They said, no, that's not our soldier. I said, what do you mean it's not yours? I recognized him. Just look at the tattoos, every single one. I even went to a copy center to get the video enhanced, but they insisted. No, that guy's 2 meters tall, not ours. We know our soldier better than you do. I kept pushing. Then I found the Nash Vikod project and their chatbot, I Want to Find Someone. I submitted a request, and they confirmed. My brother is in captivity. I was sitting at home with the kids when I got a message on WhatsApp. You submitted a request for such and such name, and you'll have the chance to talk over video. I was holding the phone, hands shaking, and then my brother called, on video. I was crying, like always.
О, привет, Яна. Да ты не плачь, нормально все.
У тебя все хорошо, Кирилл?
Да, живой.
At one point, I had lost all hope. And suddenly, I saw him. I couldn't believe it, that he was alive after everything. He'd been sent to the Storm Unit, straight into combat. He was wounded within a day or 2. Right after he got out of the tank, he got hit. Then he spent 10 days lying in the bushes. No food, no water. Eventually, they took him prisoner. He was lying there wounded. And his unit commander later said, he's a traitor to the motherland. I asked, why? Because he surrendered. He disobeyed orders. He was supposed to blow himself up in that situation.
Thanks to his sister's efforts, Kirill was added to the exchange list, and on May 6th, he was brought back to Russia.
We thought that after the exchange, my brother would be sent home, that he'd at least get some leave, that we'd finally see each other after all this time. I hadn't seen him for 3 years before the war, and then a whole year during the war. But that never happened. No one sent him home. They didn't let him go. Yeah, they sent him to that settlement, Mossrentgen or whatever it's called, right after the exchange. He told me he went through some sort of preliminary checks there, like investigative procedures, and that was it. He stayed there about a week and a half. Then someone from Unit 42038, 114th Brigade, came to pick him up. They brought him back to the unit, lined him up with the rest, and put him on standard rations. When I found out he was already back in formation and listed for rations, I started writing everywhere, recording video messages, saying what was happening. He wasn't given leave. They didn't even give him the chance to file a leave request. They just threw him straight back into ranks. I posted a video appeal on the Ukrainian project Don't Expect Good News from Ukraine.
Моего брата вернули на родину, в Российскую Федерацию, после чего моему брату отказывают в положенном ему отпуске и грозят ему том, что его отправят на передок.
Literally 10 minutes after I posted the video, my brother called. He said, please record a retraction video. He was begging. I could tell he was under pressure. They wanted me to record a retraction saying he was being granted leave and I had misunderstood. But in reality, he got no leave. I called the commander of Unit 95396. He said, he's not listed with us. He belongs to Unit 42038. We just lined him up and handed him over to the unit he's attached to. So I called that unit. They said, yes, he's with us. I asked, will you grant him leave? He spent 11 months in captivity. They said, no, he's not entitled to it. He hasn't earned leave.
То есть отпуск ему не положен, да, по закону?
Ну, я не знаю, как там по закону. Вам лучше разобраться с этим тем, кто... Я сейчас этим не занимаюсь.
Ну вот вы просто сейчас сказали то, что вы не даете отпуска группе Штурм В.
Да, потому что они не засуждены.
When Kirill was placed back into formation and told he'd soon be sent to the storm unit, he had a breakdown.
The doctor told me when they came to pick him up, he wasn't in a stable condition at all. He didn't know where he was. His eyes were wide with fear. While they were driving him to the hospital, specifically to a clinical psychiatric hospital, he didn't understand where he was being taken. He thought they were sending him to Storm. When he got to the hospital, he called me, but he didn't even recognize me at first. His own sister. He didn't know who he was talking to. He thought he was still on the front line. His behavior was completely unstable. Now he's a little better. His condition is more or less stable. But here's what it comes down to. My brother had a finger amputated. He has 6 shrapnel wounds, and 1 fragment is still lodged somewhere in his lungs. A doctor sent us the report. Diagnosis: depressive anxiety disorder. And despite all this, they said they don't care. Based on that diagnosis, they're still planning to assign him Category A, fit for duty, once he's back with his unit.
While in captivity, Kirill often said he'd rather go back to prison for any amount of time than return to the war.
5 years, 7 years. They can give me whatever they want. I'll do the time. But I'm never going back there.
But right now, there is no such choice.
Yes, he told me the same thing. If prison were an option, he'd rather go to jail than be passed around between psych wards and the storm units. I said to him, but you do realize, even if you choose prison, they'll still send you to storm. Right now, that's just how it works. Even if they sentence them to prison, they'll pressure them to go back to the front. And this time, he won't get a second chance to come back. Did you have a chance to refuse?
Well, I think it would have ended badly. And I'd probably have to go anyway, just under worse conditions. I served in Storm, came back, and they transferred me to another unit, where, let's say, by wartime standards, the conditions were much better than in Storm.
And you think that happened because you were sent back to the front right after captivity?
Yes.
I've got 4 kids in the next room who are waiting for their uncle too. Every night they cry, they just want him to come home. One of his nephews he hasn't even seen. And now I'm pregnant again. I've been trying to get the authorities to help me. At the ultrasound, I was told I was having twins. But because of all the stress, I lost one of the babies. Still, even in this condition, I won't stop fighting. Because no matter what, my brother matters more to me than anything. It's worse for him than it is for me. Every 2 days, I write to the military prosecutor's office, to the president's website, to the Ministry of Defense, to the Human Rights Ombudsman. No one answers. I don't even know why I keep writing, but I do. Maybe someone will hear me.
We've seen it again and again. People writing collective appeals to Putin. Soldiers recording messages to their governors back home. But nothing ever comes of those appeals. Sometimes, sure, they get small results. Like if there's a delay in pay, the money finally arrives. But as for things like getting a soldier sent home, getting the medical treatment, or even just a break, no, that doesn't happen.
The Insider's journalists continue their work despite pressure from Russian authorities. You can support them by liking this video, leaving a comment, and subscribing to our channel. If you'd like to further support their efforts, consider making a donation by clicking the link in the description below.